Hi, everyone. Welcome. Good morning to Gail, Laura, Laurie, and Ingeborg. Welcome to you all. Laurie and Ingeborg, if you write in the chat, or maybe you're actually on tablets or on your phones, there's a chat. I don't know if you can see that. More people will see you on the chat. Yeah, there's a little bit of crackling in the background, Wynter. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, that's a bit better. So we will be starting in a few minutes. You can see the fire pits. You can see everything is ready, set up there for Chief Stephen. And Wynter and Chief Stephen will be on in just a few moments. But I'm just here to welcome you all. Hi, Tracy.
Tracy, isn't she? Yeah.
Yes, yes, good afternoon. Thanks, Gail. Can you mute? Sorry, Laurie, I'm not sure what you mean. And here they are, Chief Stephen and Wynter. So just to
Hi,
say,
everyone.
oh, sorry, Wynter. I was just going to say to let everyone know that Wynter will ask for questions later on. So you can type your questions in during the webinar, and then Wynter will let you know when they have time to answer them. So, okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Janine.
My pleasure.
I just want to make sure if somebody, before you switch the chat off, is the picture clear, and can you see me and Chief Stephen and Janine next to you? Yes. Okay. Wonderful. It's been quite interesting setting this all up, different cameras and things. So thank you. And great. So I'm going to, let's just, sorry, we had to do things slightly differently there. There we go. Okay. Wonderful. So a huge welcome to all of you, and a huge welcome to Chief Stephen. I'm very excited to be able to have him here and broadcast throughout the world, because this is the first time we're doing this sort of from Montrose, our place in Cape Town. But Chief, it's so lovely to have you here. Thank you for all you're doing.
So it's a great pleasure.
Okay, wonderful. So we're going to start off with Chief Stephen leading a traditional Khoi blessing ceremony. And you saw the fire pit earlier, so I'm just going to switch the camera onto him. After the ceremony, there's going to, now it's a blessing for everybody. The ceremony is a blessing and a healing ceremony for the planet. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Wynter.
Okay. So, and then we're going to come back here and have a bit of a discussion about the Khoi culture and everything. Okay, so everybody just get comfortable and let's start tuning in to what Chief Stephen is going to be doing. Okay.
Canches, Tavere, Titage Coma. Sada Itse, Sada Abotse, Sada Netse, Omre, Anetse Cosa, Ria Hasa, Ganganse, Kai Ganganse, Kai Chiare, Karatawa, Kai Chiare, Otsomato, Kai Chiare, Sarah Batman, Kai Chiare, Goma, Goma Netse, Omre, Sida Abotse, Sida Netse, Sida Se, Amdinge, Guraseka, Yinsugrabasa, Gangangse, Gangangse, Kai Gangans, Siguap, Yihuap, Ganganse, Kai Gangans, Sidanetse, Sidarotse, Ominese, Omsale, Ganganse, Kai Ganganse. Ganganse, Kai Gangans, Sida Abotse, Sida Apse, Sida Netse, Omre. Kai Gangans.
Thank you so much, Chief. That was I felt very moved by that. I almost feel like crying for some reason. So that was very powerful. Thank you. Sure. And I just want to explain to people as well that this place where Simon and I have our home is actually a sacred place for the Khoi people. All these homes were built in the sacred burial grounds. Is that right, Stephen?
Yes. Noordhoek area was the burial area from our ancestors. So this is a sacred area. of the Khoisan people, where they have built their houses on.
Yeah. And it's the Khoi never built the houses here. We, the settlers, the white settlers came and built
Yeah,
the
the
houses.
colonial people.
Yes.
They
yeah.
start building the houses, yes.
Not even knowing that it was sacred land. So it's very, I feel it's very powerful that we're holding this ceremony, and we have done a couple of ceremonies here in the past. And it just, gosh, I can just feel the energy. It's so just let me take a moment. Chief Stephen, that blessing ceremony, it was very powerful. And can you just tell us who you were communicating with there? Who were you asking to bless us?
Yeah, that was a global prayer for healing for everybody. And in that ceremony, I was calling up also the ancestors to be part and parcel of everything, because it's very important for us as the Khoi people to invite our ancestors in any ceremony.
Mm. And I recognized a couple of those names, like Sarah Bartman. She's in the South African history. She's an ancestor that went through quite a lot.
Yes, yes.
How many hundreds of years ago?
It's quite a few 100 years ago when she was kidnapped and taken overboard, and where they put her in a cage and on a display for people to see, because people didn't know how indigenous people look like.
So we've got such a history of that domination over other cultures. But what I really want to talk about, or what we'd love to talk about during these discussions that you and I are going to have, is how does that ancient knowledge from the First Nation people, how can we work with that knowledge in order to start living more harmoniously with nature?
Yeah, you see, in our culture, our ancestors, thousands and thousands of years ago, they lived in peace and in harmony, and they walked lightly on earth, because they lived by laws, custom, and customary law, so that they can be united all the time. So when one person from another tribe have done something wrong to another tribe, according to customary law, when he was found guilty, he have to pay with his cattle. And in order to keep the peace between all the tribes, because here in the Western Cape we had the most tribes of all the tribes. I will name a few of them. We had the Otsukwa, we have the Gorikainas, we have the Cape Khoi, we have the Strandlopers, we have the Esukwa, we have the Netsukwa. No, different tribes that lived here in the Western Cape. And by customary laws, it was not a one-man show. Everybody had equal rights. Men and women had also equal rights because of the customary law that was there. And there was just that great connection from our ancestors they had for Mother Nature. And they had, up till now, we still have that big respect for Mother Nature. So if I say we had that big respect, if we go out and we want to harvest some berries, we first ask permission to the bush, and then the bush will just guide us where we have to pick our fruit from. And then we give back. And how we give back we normally cut a piece of our hair and bury it next to the bush.
Okay.
Now that is a token of appreciation. So what we take, we give back.
Yeah.
And that is a token of appreciation and a token of respect for nature. And that is how our ancestors lived, and we do it still up to date. The same story we do, because our history was passed on from generation to generation. It was never recorded, but it was recorded in our hearts.
Yeah.
And that is the great connection that our ancestors had and we have with nature
Yeah.
and everything in nature.
And I know what's so important about your work today, because so much of that knowledge has been lost in the Western culture. And how are you keeping the culture alive? It must be quite difficult.
Yeah, it is very difficult at this stage, because all of the Khoisan people are all of them are westernized.
Mm.
So it's difficult for us to get them back on track and teach them about their culture, their history. So what we normally do, where I'm staying, we have a place where we're starting now our youth and the children. We start learning them the history, the culture, and we start learning them the Khoi language, which we call the Moon language. So, yeah, we call it the Moon language because our people, our ancestors, they spoke the Kukukuwap language. Now, Kukukuwap means people, people. So our ancestors, they spoke the people's language.
Okay. And the Ngoma language, my clicks aren't very good. What does that mean? Ngoma.
Num.
Num.
Yeah.
Num. Yes.
Num is the language that they speak, the people's language.
People's language.
Yeah.
Okay. And are the kids interested? Are they excited to learn?
Yeah, we have now 120 kids
That's wonderful.
that have come and we teach them.
That's wonderful. So, Chief Stephen, I want to ask you a little bit about the ancestors and how, because a lot of people who perhaps are listening to you don't really understand when we ask the ancestors for help, most people would just go directly to the Creator or to God. But when you connecting with the ancestors, can you describe who the ancestors are in relation to the Creator?
Yeah, the ancestors, they are the elderly people, the wise people that went long before us. They are the ancestors. And normally when we consult with the ancestors, they normally come in a form of an animal when they speak to you. So they are the ancestors.
Okay. And I remember once we were together at the Lions, and a snake came out, and you went to communicate with the snake. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And it was a very poisonous snake. It
Yeah.
was
A vine snake.
a vine snake. That's
Yeah.
right. And can you describe that experience?
Yeah, in our culture and history, a snake is a messenger. And a snake only bring one message. He will always bring one message. So when I saw the snake, I was greeting and I speak with the snake, and he speak back to me, and he given the message. And the message was that they needed rain up there. And I don't know if you remember that same night, I was singing the rain song.
I do remember
And suddenly, after the rain song, we did get a bit of rain. Now, in our culture, the snake is a messenger and he only brings one message. He's a messenger to bring rain, and he come and ask for rain.
Ah, okay, so that I remember you didn't really tell us at the time because it was seemed like such a sacred experience and a personal experience.
Yeah,
So,
you see, all animals are very sacred to us as the Khoi people, and that's why we respect animals. And that's why even myself today, I'm an activist fighting for animal rights.
So everybody, when I first met Chief Stephen, it was in South African Parliament it was the colloquium on the lion bone trade. And he, along with some of your community, you stood up and you spoke at the podium about your connection with the lions.
Yeah.
And you had the community supporting you, and it was incredibly powerful, those words. Can you tell us a little bit about the relationship with you and lions?
Yeah, lions, especially the white lions. In our culture, the white lions, they are the gods of Mother Nature. And stories was told by our ancestors about the white lions. And there was one day when the Khoi nation was threatened by the Nguni tribes. And it's these white lions that lead them to safety. And that's why we believe still today that the white lions, they are the gods. They are the star lions of this planet.
And earlier you were telling me about Credo Mutwa saying.
Yeah, like Credo Mutwa quoted in his book that he wrote, he say that the First Nation people, the Khoisan people, they are the star people of this earth. They are the First Nation people. That's why he quoted the Star Nation.
And the lions are known as the Star
As the
Lions.
Star Lions, yes.
So that's
because that there was a great communication between the lions and our ancestors. Even we here in the Western Cape, we're not hunters. We are pastorals because we had our own herds of cattle. And in the Kalahari, you have the Sand people. Now, they were the hunter-gatherers. But there was a communication, a connection that still stands today between those hunters and the lions. There was an agreement between them. So when the hunters went out and they went to hunt, because they had to feed their families, and when they paralyzed an animal and a lion came across that animal, and then that verbal agreement starts between the hunter and the lion. And after the agreement, it sometimes takes about an hour or so before they will understand each other. But then the lion will turn back because he know it's not his.
Okay.
Now that agreement stands up till today between the hunters and the lions. They had that verbal agreement. And then that's why every full moon up in the Kalahari, there's a certain place in Andriesville where the hunters will go out and they will put meat there for the lions just to keep that agreement.
Yeah.
That verbal agreement between them.
So the lions will if it's a time and an agreement between the prey and the human predator, then the lions know to leave that prey for the Sand people. But as a gift of gratitude, you give them, the Sand people will give off an offering to the lions.
An offering, yeah. they bring an offering to the lions because we respect the lion as the gods. We respect them. They are the gods of the planet.
And can you tell us a little bit about the hunting? Because, you know, nowadays there's so many animal lovers and you know, people who care about the planet who don't agree with, well, stopped eating meat and animal products. And I know people who don't understand the First Nation culture might get upset or just want to know about the skins that you wear and the hunting. What does it mean to you and the tradition?
Yeah, the hunting is mainly in the Kalahari because there people have to survive. People that stays in the Kalahari.
Because just the Kalahari is a big desert, isn't it? There's no plants that grow.
There's there's no plants, and they have to go out to hunt because if they don't hunt, they will starve to death. So they need to go out and hunt, but it's not an everyday thing. They will go out and hunt, and before they go out and hunt, they will have a ceremony so that the ancestors can guide them.
Okay.
And then there's a certain animal put aside for them to catch.
And it's like an agreement between the animal and the hunter.
Yeah, so once they paralyze the animal, and before they kill them, they say a prayer, and they also ask forgiveness to the animal. And they explain to the animal why they have to do it.
And then I know they use everything, and these skins that you wear in ceremony, you didn't hunt these skins. Where do they come from? Can you tell us the story?
Years before, our ancestors, they make clothing with these skins because there wasn't clothes to wear, so they have to make their own clothes. And to make their own clothes, they use these skins. Now, this one that I have on here, this is still one of my late grandfather that was passed on to me. So I'm not a hunter, so I'll never hunt.
But you wearing that in honor of your ancestors.
Yes, I have to. Yeah, I cannot disappoint my ancestors.
And it will go in generations. So the next person
will be my son that will wear it, and so it goes on from generation to generation.
Yeah. So it's very different to the Western culture of eating meat and wearing skins and leather and things like that. It's so completely different. And I think if we were able to go back to that culture of respect and acknowledging where our food comes from, you know, even people who do feel they need to eat meat, you always acknowledge that and make sure that they come from an ethical source, and to give back. You know, I think that's such an important thing as well, to give back. So, and I know there were quite a few things that you wanted to speak about. I'm going to leave it open to you now. We've established the connection with nature and the animals. I'd love you to speak a little bit more about your culture.
Yeah, as I've meditated this morning, my ancestors spoke to me, and they said to me, I must just tell people how did I found myself, because I grew up in a very difficult times, and the older I get, the more confused I was. And at the age of 30, I have to find myself, and my ancestors lead me and tell me I had to go to the Kalahari. And I went up to the Kalahari and I meet two wonderful gentlemen from the Sen, the Komani-San people. They the leaders. One is David Kraper that passed away a couple of years ago, and Andries Valboy. And well, when those two leaders see me, they would start dancing and clapping hands. And they told me, we're waiting a long time for you. And I asked why. Because the ancestors already spoken to them. And they sat with me and they spoke with me and they told me, you have to go through the now. And I said, what is the now? They said, once you go through the now and you came out of the now, then you will know who you are and where you came from. So the now is a sacred ceremony where you will consult with your ancestors and with the Creator. And that is a secret thing. So I had to stay a whole night in that now. And the next morning, when I came out a different person. I have found myself during that night who I am and what was my purpose in life here on earth. So when I came out of now, they blessed me. And after the blessing, I have to drink some alu water, which is quite bitter. And they explained to me why I must drink the water. And they said that was for the bitterness that I had to go through in life. And after that, they was giving me some raw honey. And they said that is for the sweetness and the future for you that lies ahead. And my first experience was while I was there for the month in the Kalahari was the second night. 3 tawny lions appeared in front of me. And they told me not to be scared. And that is where I start learning to connect with animals. And the lion on the left side and the lion on the right hand side, they were just kicking the sand towards me. And the one in the middle, he just stepped backwards and he bows his head to me. And they turn around and disappear. And then the elders told me, now today you have your name. You see the lions have kicked the sand in front towards you. So that means your tribal name is Koma. So Koma means son of the soil. So that is where I did get my tribal name from. And that same night, while we dancing, we do the noon dance around the fire. A snake appears out of nowhere, the messenger again. And the elders told me, they sent me to go speak with the snake. And I speak with the snake. And for that time I was there for 9 months, there wasn't any rain in the Kalahari. So after the snake brings the message, and then the elders told me, you know most what to do. So I took my drum and I sing the rain song. And they did the rain dance around the fire. And at the same time, it started pouring for the first time in 9 months. And it was raining for 7 days, non-stop. because I remember when I came home, the Orange River was flooded with rain because of the rain. And then the elders told me, that is your purpose, why the ancestors have sent you here. Now your work is done here, they told me. You have to go back home and be that great leader for your people in Cape Town.
Wow. Sure, that's wonderful, but it's not easy, is it?
No, it's not. It's not easy,
especially in today's sort of climate of there's so much stress and greed and how do you cope? How if you can maybe tell the people, because I think we all want to try and be leaders in our own lives as well, and to listen to the ancestors. So how do you achieve that?
It's not easy to be a leader, but what I've learned from my ancestors, to become a great leader, you must always be humble. Don't worry about other people and people who are greedy. Just be you and yourself, and just show respect and love to people. And that is what makes you a great leader.
Those are very wise words. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Let me just see. I'm thinking I'd love to open up for questions. If anybody's got questions for Chief Stephen about what we've been speaking about, if you want any advice, I'd love to open that up and hear from you now.
To come in. Can you hear me okay, Wynter?
I can, Janine, thank you. Yes. It's a big help if you can speak them.
Yes, of course. I just wanted to say thank you, Wynter and Chief Stephen. Such an honor to witness that ceremony. I mean, here, all the way in Norway, however many hours by plane, I had goosebumps and spontaneous tears during that ceremony. It was just so incredibly powerful. There's a couple of questions that I wondered what, because you both said gunguts a couple of times, and I wondered what that meant.
Okay, gangans means thank you. Kai gangans means thank you very much.
Ah, okay. Thank you. Gunguts. And I'm going to try it. No, wow. You understand what I'm trying to say? What was that? Was that just going into a meditation, or was it a physical place?
No, now is a place where you go. It's like a hut on its own in the Kalahari, where every Khoisan needs to go through the now to find out really who they are. It's a spiritual thing once you're in there.
Okay, wonderful.
So is it like it's a ceremony, but you go and put yourself into a hut in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, you yourself is there. It's a spiritual thing that you go through with your ancestors and with your creator.
Wow. Okay, thank you. Okay, so yes, we have a couple of questions. So Gail Lash, who is in Belize, she said, Khoi people are the star people. Are all peoples on earth to learn to be star people too, as in connections to the stars?
So she's asking, is the message that all people need to learn how to be star people?
Yes, all people have to learn, and our people can learn is once there's that respect and connection with nature,
and a connection with the stars.
With the stars as well, because our people had a great connection. Our people, our ancestors, they were clever than scientists because they could read the stars.
I'm just reminded that Credo Mutwa, my astrology teacher, Maurice Fernandez, he mentions the Credo Mutwa said man must make two connections, one to the earth and one to the stars. And it reminded me of that very much. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Can I just interrupt there? In case people don't know who Credo Mutwa is, well, he recently passed this year, it was in March this year, just before the coronavirus hit South Africa, in all its glory. But he was known as the Lion Priest of Africa, and he was a high Sanusi. So he was probably the most famous medicine man, African medicine man of South Africa. So just to put it in context, and he wrote a book called Indaba My Children, which was very controversial for his own people. He was persecuted for writing, and then the white government of South Africa persecuted him as well, and they banned the book from being published. But that's how he became so famous, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his ancestors was also Khoi.
Yes, he is. He's part some Zulu and some Khoi. Yeah. There's another question there. How do you communicate with the animals?
Well, we always ask guidance from our ancestors, because everything we do, we have to invite our ancestors first. And because our ancestors, they come in the form of animals, then they guide us what to do. And it's all about respect and that unconditional love that you must have in your heart to communicate with animals.
So whenever you're communicating with an animal, you're also communicating with the ancestors.
Yes.
So it's like there's a higher guidance around the messages. And even if it's a physical message, like, the animal's sick, it's the ancestors which will be helping you get that message. Okay.
And sometimes the ancestors, they will guide you to seek animals. They guide you. They speak to you and they guide you to seek animals.
And how do you get that? I mean, we may be going into too deep, because I want to talk more in another series as well, but how do you get the message? Is it just a feeling, or is it a picture in your mind?
Yeah, no, it's like a vision you get.
Vision.
Yeah, I get a vision.
Okay.
Even when people are sick in my community, I get that vision. Now, in my community, people, they have a big respect for me, but they call me different names. Some of them call me Chief. Some of them say there's the traditional healer. Some of them say there's the spiritual healer. Some of them say there's the shaman. Yeah, because of the visions I get.
Wonderful. You are a shaman. You are a healer. So wonderful. Thank you. Janine, are there any other questions?
Yes, there are. From Elizabeth, she said, how do we know if we are being humble, and what practices can we develop to test our humbleness?
Do you understand that question?
How
do we know when we're being humble enough, and is there anything we can practice to make sure we're humble?
Yeah, you have to. Everything starts with yourself, your inner self, and that's why we, as the Khoi people, we always start by asking forgiveness, even if you have done nothing wrong. That is one of the most important things, to start just ask forgiveness. And according to my experience, my own experience, I will always be humbled because even if somebody prosecute me, I'm innocent, but I will take the blame just to be humble. And I will always humble myself in front of other people. And like I said, it's just something in your inner self that you need uh, 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 to investigate.
So that makes a lot of sense. And, you know, I sometimes work with, there's a traditional Hawaiian prayer of healing, and it always starts with forgive me. I'm sorry. So that, and, you know, that's the indigenous people of Hawaii. And I think a lot of the information or the wisdom from indigenous peoples all over the world are connected because we are all connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That makes, Elizabeth, I hope that answered your question. Janine, is there another one?
Yeah. From Laura in the US. Who are the people that the lions led the Khoi to safety away from? Is it the San people in the Kalahari?
Now it is the Nguni tribes. Now the Nguni tribes were the Xhosas and the Zulus, the black tribes. Now the story with the black tribes was 900 years ago. They only arrived from Northeast Africa in here in Cape Town. And that time by customary law and custom, our ancestors give the Eastern Cape to them because they had shared the land equally. And what happened when the the Zulu tribes were growing? They wanted the whole of the Western Cape, and they just start killing other tribes, and that was how the lions guide our ancestors away to safety from the Zulu tribes.
Okay. So it's such a complicated mixture of cultures in South Africa, and the Zulu and Xhosa nations. So they were always quite a warring people. They were always their traditions. If you have a look at the recent history of them, compared to the history of the Khoi, who were always very peaceful, the Zulus and the Xhosa are actually quite warlike. They went to war a lot, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's such a complex thing that we are dealing with today as well in society, not just in South Africa, but in this whole mix of cultures.
Yeah.
Thank you. Janine, any other questions?
Yes, from Fiona. What significance does Table Mountain have in Khoi culture? It's a place of wonderful, gentle, but profound power.
Yeah. Table Mountain is actually a sacred site because at the backdrop of Table Mountain, the Khoi princess used to live there. There are caves there with rock art paintings in, and that is why it's a sacred place to the Khoi people because the princess was staying there in Table Mountain.
Do you ever go there and do ceremonies there? Do you know where the caves are?
Yes, I know where the caves are.
Yeah.
And we go sometimes up and keep ceremonies there.
And it's important to protect those sites because people don't know about them, do they?
Now, people don't know about it. It's only we that knew about those caves.
And the ceremony keeps that energy
Yeah,
alive.
the ceremony keep the energy alive there by the caves. Yes.
Wonderful, thank you.
I actually just have a question in line with that. What can we do in our own homes, on our own land, to help support the ancestors and the Khoi people? Can we do ceremony and send, our positive intentions and our wishes to the Khoi people to gain strength and for the nature in South Africa? Because it feels so important to support the Khoi people, the First Nations.
Yeah, people always, friends that I know, also international friends, they will always send me text messages and say they're going to do prayers for our Khoi people, and they're going to do their own ceremonies for our Khoi people here in South Africa.
And does it help? Can you feel it?
You can feel the energy because they tell you what time they start. Then you also get connected with them. Then you can feel the energy.
That's wonderful. So, I mean, we're going to be doing another 2 at least webinars like this. So maybe what we can do, Janine, as well, is just really spread the word so that we can get so many more people connecting in. And maybe we'll do a ceremony for everybody, for the Khoi and the First Nations people, because really we're all Khoi. You've said that to me before.
Yeah. Now, because of everybody's ancestors, everybody have Khoi blood in them. Whether you black, whether you white, whether you green or yellow, but there is a percentage of Khoi blood in your DNA.
Because this is where it all started.
Yeah.
The Khoi were the very first people.
What is that bird in the background? Because it's like it wants to be heard. It's been so loud at times.
So I think it's actually a cicada. It's an insect. It is. Can you hear it? It's actually in this bush behind us.
Oh, wow.
What is what is the meaning of those little very loud insects with the Khois? The cicada.
Like I just explained to you, the ancestors, they will turn themselves in animals. So it just shows us once again the presence of our ancestors are here.
That's what I felt that, as you said, Janine, she wanted to be heard and acknowledged, and sort of it's like the ancestors of the bush, isn't it? The ancestors of nature coming in a very small form, but with a very loud voice. And if we are just quiet, then we'll hear them as well. And if we're not quiet, they'll shout.
Yes. Yeah.
There's still a couple more questions if you have time. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Another question from Gail in Belize. She's asked, how may we learn more from the Khoi San Star people?
Well, like I explained, we had that great connection and that respect for nature. Now, once people have that connection with nature and respect nature, then everything will just follow. It will just follow. Because these days you can see that people are destroying nature, which is a big problem, and it makes my ancestors unhappy. And it also makes Father Sky unhappy, and that's why Father Sky is unhappy. That's why certain places where Mother Nature get destroyed, those areas don't get rain because they destroy Mother Nature.
Yeah, there's big messages all around now, isn't it? I mean, I suppose the question you ask, Gail, it's about connecting the Khoi. When you connect with Mother Nature, you're connecting with the Khoi.
Yes.
So you're getting your wisdom from nature, from the Khoi. And I mean, the nature has so many messages for us now. Just, you know, with the pandemic, we know that's a big message.
Yeah.
Message from, and I think in our next series we're going to go into that and how the First Nations people are, with their knowledge, how you are working with it and dealing with it.
Yes.
So there's lots of wisdom there. Thank you. Maybe one or two more questions, and then we'll close with a prayer, a Khoi prayer.
Okay. Ingeborg has also, she'd asked about whether you're going to do this more, which you have answered. And she's also asked, do the Khoi people have a voodoo tradition?
No, we didn't have a voodoo tradition. We had our spiritual healers and our traditional healers.
But it's not like magic.
No. It's not like magic.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just connecting with the heart.
Yeah.
Always connecting with the heart. Wonderful. And maybe one more question if there is.
Okay, and one's just come in from Christine. What do the Khoi think about the pandemic?
Yeah, it was about in 2010. Yes, if I'm right, 2010. The prophecy went out from our Khoisan traditional healers that in 2020 there will be a pandemic. So we as the Khoi people had 10 years to prepare ourselves for this. And that's why when the COVID-19 started, I was ready for it. And I had made lots of medicine from medicinal plants. That's why nobody in my community did get the COVID-19 because the prophecy went out already 10 years ago.
Wow.
So yeah, we'll certainly speak more about that in our next seminar. And just before we close, do you want to just speak about your lovely walking stick, if you can show it in the camera?
Yeah. Now this stick has some dates on and some animals and drawings of my ancestors. Now the dates on the stick are very important dates. Now I'm gonna take one date, for instance, 1510. Now, what happened in 1510 when the Portuguese named Francisco de Almeida, he was on his way back home, and by the mount of Salt River, he have seen that the fat cattle, and he saw our ancestors hiding in the bush. Now, what happened there is he dug and he wanted to steal the cattle. So afterwards, he tried to negotiate with our ancestors for the cattle, and they didn't want to negotiate with him. So he saw the children on the beach playing, and he wanted to abduct the children, and he didn't get it right. So what happened then? He called his men with their rifles. So my ancestors, they were clever. Now they will also always whistle a kettle. So what they did that day is they use the kettle as shields, because that was then the first Khoisan war that broke out. So they use their kettle as shield, and they destroy the Alameda and his whole crew. And that was the first Khoisan battle that happened here in South Africa. Now that same De Almeida, he was also the man that built a fort by the mouth of the Zambezi River for slave trading. So that is one of the most important dates, 1510.
In the South African history.
In our culture and history, yeah. And it's also known as the first Khoisan War. And never again that any Portuguese or people arrived to South Africa. It took them 100 years after that before they arrived again in the Cape of Good Hope.
So, and when you say they used their cattle as shields, you mean they just hid so that the people didn't see them? They hid behind the cattle.
Yeah, they hid behind the cattle.
The people weren't shooting at them through the cattle.
No.
They were just okay. Yeah. So they worked with the cattle to help them. So the cattle were even helping their people.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Oh gosh, it's such a deep history in South Africa, and we're going to, I hope you just got a feeling for Chief Stephen's wisdom and his knowledge and the knowledge of the ancestors to pass on through nature. And my work is all about connecting with nature. Our work, I know everyone who's on this call is wanting to connect with nature more. So we're talking about dates on the stick, but I think, Janine, you've got the dates for the next two seminars that we're going to do with Chief Stephen. Do you want to just give that out to people so they can diarize them, so we can start doing some ceremonial work as well?
Yes, of course. So the next two dates are the 24th of October and the 5th of December.
Okay. 24th of October and 5th of December. And we're not doing one in November because I'm going to be away up at the Lions for most of November, and we'll be doing a lot of ceremonial work there as well. Okay. Chief, would you love to? I'd love you to say your prayer.
Before I'm closing down, there's something that I would like to read out to everybody. Now, this is a thing that we as the Khoi practice every day in our life, and for us, we call it in our own 10 commandments, and it's more for spiritual healing. And I would like to read it out to everybody. Number 1, honor thy father and mother. Always respect your ancestors so that you may live longer on Mother Earth and Father Sky. Number 2, fathers confess, provide, and protect your wife and feed your children to survive. Treat all wives and children equally at all times. Number 3, women, love your man and be faithful to him. Number 4 says, if someone in the family does not want to work, then he must not eat. Number 5, respect holy places. Bring praise and grateful songs unto the Great Spirit, Chikuap. Number 6, do not tell lies. If you bear false witness, you will be banned from people. Now, number 7 say, do not steal. You pay back double the amount what you stole. Number 8, do not exploit others. Do not call an indigenous elder a boy or a girl. Do not humiliate or abuse other people. Number 9 says, do not commit murder. Then you put death sentence on yourself. Do not damage Mother Earth and Father Sky, but help to heal nature. Now, this is the 10 commandments from us as the Khoisan people that we practice every day in our life, and that is what also brings spiritual healing into our hearts.
So it's very, very practical commandments, but
Yes.
very strong messages about
Yes.
how to live your life. And for me, the greatest one of all was the last one.
The last one, yes.
Of respecting and healing the earth. Thank you. I'd love to just close with a short grounding and connecting meditation of Thanksgiving as well. So if that's all right with you, Chief.
Gangans.
Gangans. Okay, Gangans. Okay, so everyone just make yourselves comfortable. I find it interesting that the cicada has quietened now that we acknowledged her. Just take a deep breath in, slowly breathe out. Feel your feet firmly on the ground, connected to Mother Earth. And as you breathe in and out, just feel your connection to Father Sky and to the stars. Feel the connection to your ancestors, to our ancestors. And let us thank them for holding this space with us at this time, in this sacred space, sharing their blessings and our prayers all around the world. Feel that heart connection that we have. As you breathe in, feel the focus of your heart. Feel the love and support of Mother Nature. Know that we are not alone, that you are not alone, that we are guided in everything that we do by Mother Nature, by the ancestors, by the Creator. And just feel that beautiful connection that Chief Stephen has shown us today. Feel the gratitude in your hearts for this day, for this time. Just take a deep breath in and stay in that feeling of gratitude as you take note of your feet firmly on the ground. And we feel the warmth of the ancestors folding us in their arms, guiding us, loving us, as we respect them and honor them in everything we do, as we respect and honor nature, Mother Nature, in everything we do. Gangans.
Gangans.
Thank you.
Kai Gangans.
Okay, Gangans. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. And take note of those dates, and we will see you again. Just a quick reminder of if you want to start exploring the connection with the lions as well, and the connection with the ancestors, about our virtual Starline journey. If you look at starlinejourneys.org, you'll see the information there. But I'm sure we'll see you all on the next series with Chief Stephen. It is being recorded, so you will definitely be able to, if you've missed anything, or if you're not going to be able to make those absolute dates, we will send you the recording link. You just need to register. Thank you also for all your donations. They go right to Chief Stephen, to his work with the community. A very, unfortunately, very impoverished community, even though it's right on our doorsteps here. But Chief Stephen, with your support, is able to keep bellies full with the soup kitchen, and also just continue the work with the children, the drumming and sharing the knowledge.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone.
Once again, thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, and we'll see you again.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say there's so many messages of thanks and gratitude coming in on the chat and on the questions, just to let you know. There's, yes, so much gratitude from all of us.
And thank you, Janine, for holding it so beautifully as per usual. Thank you.
My pleasure always.
And I see you guys noticing the birds singing. They have been very today, so thank you. All right, everyone. Much love to you, and we'll see you again soon.